You are a guardian angel and designer. What the f is you talking about, man? You are not from Harlem. Why do you keep thinking that you are from Harlem, bro? You are not from Harlem. I did not grow up with you, man. Do you remember how we met? Pause. Not met, how you got cool with us? Basically, you heard our freestyles. And you came up to me one day when I was chilling in front of the house. You said, yo, man, I heard the freestyles. Y'all killing shit. More freestyles come out. Y'all heard the new shit.
Jim Jones is spiraling, and the internet is watching. Once seen as the backbone of Dipset, the street muscle, the loyal right-hand man to Cameron, Jim is now on the verge of a public meltdown. And what's worse, he's practically begging Mase and Cameron for respect. Respect they clearly aren't giving back. It all started when Cameron and Mase brought up old Harlem memories on their podcast, shaking the internet with raw, unfiltered truth. But what caught everyone off guard was how they exposed Jim. They didn't just shade him, they clowned him. Mase straight up said Jim was a fan who begged to hang around Dipset. He said Jim came up after hearing their freestyles and wanted in, not because he was part of the crew, but because he was a groupie. Remember how you got cool with us? Mase said. You came up to me after hearing our freestyles talking, yo man, y'all killing it. You wasn't there, bro. You were not one of us. And it didn't stop there. Mase even said he taught Jim how to rap. That's like telling the world Jim wasn't a real artist. He was a student, a tag-along. The nerve. Cam followed up with more heat. He painted Jim as someone who tried so hard to be from Harlem, when in reality he was just there. Not from the core, not from the roots. According to Cam, Harlem knows Harlem, and Jim Jones was faking the Harlem swag. And then came the insults. Body shaming, name-calling, straight-up roasting Jim's look, calling him sloppy, out of shape, and lost. This wasn't just rap beef, this was character assassination. Jim Jones finally responded, and that's where things got even more emotional. And honestly, kind of sad. You could hear the pain in his voice, the betrayal, the frustration. He tried to stay cool, but it was clear. This cut deep. Jim admitted it. Mase did teach him how to rap. Cam did put him on his albums, but then he flipped the story. He said he was the muscle. He was the one holding Dipset down. While Cam was the artist, Jim was on the front lines protecting the crew, being the bad guy when needed. He said, "There's no Dipset without me." And maybe he's not wrong. When Cam and others were busy making music and building the brand, it was Jim who kept things street certified. He was the one the gang looked to. He was the one who made sure nobody messed with Dipset.
I was the CEO of Diplomats. I made Diplomats with him. I was with him for every bit of his journey. I held him down. I took that position of holding him down.
But Cam never gave him that credit. At least, not publicly. The worst part? Jim called out how people who actually hurt him, people who disrespected or tried to destroy him, he forgave them. He mentioned how French Montana dissed him in a movie, and yet Jim sat in the crowd, smiling. How wild is that? Sitting in a theater, watching yourself get disrespected on screen, and just dealing with it. But when it comes to Cam and Mase, the ones Jim actually loved, the ones he protected and stood behind for decades, they're the ones who throw him under the bus. Jim said, "When people got a genuine heart for you, you just keep testing it. But if someone put hands on you, you stay cool with them." The pain was real. It wasn't just about old rap stories. It was about brotherhood, loyalty, and the feeling of being abandoned. Jim finished by saying he wasn't here to trash anyone, but the lies and disrespect had gone too far.
You was a fan. You begged us. You are a fan, nigga. A fan. So you can sit around and act like you've been around all this Harlem and everything. You ever see somebody from Harlem try to act like they from Harlem so bad that you got to keep saying, "I'm from Harlem"? From Harlem know who's from Harlem. You don't have to keep saying you from Harlem.
"I know who I am," he said. "I stand 10 toes down. I'm good in my skin." But behind those words, a broken friendship. A man caught between trying to keep his past intact and trying to prove he's not the clown they painted him to be.
Mase need to go on a diet. He need to get his life together. He need to go to the doctor and get a physical. He looked terrible, bad body, back ass. He look big around the neck, waist look crazy. I'm body shaming this. You heard? He need to go get his together, get on the treadmill, do some push-ups, do something. You heard? Especially for playing with me.
This isn't just a hip-hop feud. This is family gone wrong. Jim might be trying to hold it together, but the world sees it. The hurt, the anger, the desperation. Whether you think he's the victim or the villain, one thing's for sure. Jim Jones is begging for a seat at a table he helped build. And the door slammed shut. Do you think Jim deserves more credit for Dipset? Or is Cam'ron and Mase telling the real story? Sound off in the comments and hit that subscribe button for more raw hip-hop drama.